Hello, everyone. My name is Jasmine, and I'm a senior at the California State University of Long Beach, and I'm currently majoring in communication studies and minoring in journalism. And today I will be interviewing Paul Lamb. Paul is a woodworking teacher and is an active member of AWFS's Local Industry Education Networking chapter. AWFS stands for the Association of Woodworking and Furnishings Suppliers. AWFS is the largest national trade association in the United States, representing the interests of a broad array of companies that supply the home and commercial furnishings industry. Hello, Paul.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So, could you describe what your typical workday entails and what your first few years in the career was like?
Typical day, I usually arrive very early, maybe about an hour before school starts, and that's really just to prepare the materials for the class because it is a woodworking class. So a lot of times the students don't know how to cut the wood ahead of time, so I have to pre-cut everything. And so that usually takes a lot of time. Until they're able to cut the wood themselves, that's when they're able to just use regular planks and make everything from there.
Yeah.
But I like to arrive early anyways because it's just more, I don't like to rush. I like to make sure everything is ready to go when the bell rings. Also, just to review the lesson, so that way when I do talk about it, it's 4 students and 2 students that there's no interruption and I sound more confident. And for the students, and it's more clear, you know.
Okay.
So generally I teach, and then after school, usually I stay until 3 or 4, sometimes up to 6 p.m. for grading. And that's because I like to stay on top of my grading, and I don't like to get behind on it.
Oh, that's great. So what courses or degrees are required to become a woodworking or CTE teacher?
Well, you can go the degree route with a degree in industrial tech or woodworking per se, but there's not a lot of woodworking degrees out there. What they're really looking for is relevant industry experience. And so if you have 3 years of recent woodworking experience or construction experience, and that is good enough to get a preliminary credential. And so the preliminary credential allows you to substitute or just get into the classroom with an intent to get your full cleared credential, which takes additional classes. So that would be another 3 years of classes or 5 classes within a 3-year period to finish them.
Okay, I see. So did you work in the woodworking industry before you became a teacher? And if so, how do you think that helped or impacted your teaching experience?
Well, my woodworking career started when I was young. I mean, it just was using my father's tools and just making things for fun or out of necessity. And so
very cool.
It wasn't until maybe late in my career or late midlife in my 30s is when I kind of had an epiphany, and I wasn't happy with my career before that. And then my friends were telling me, why don't you do woodworking or construction for a living, because I had already remodeled my home, built a deck, and re-landscaped my backyard, and did a lot of things already, and they just saw that I had the talent for it. I never even considered it initially. And so then from that point, I said, you know what, I'm going to just go for it, give it a try, and then went to school at Cerritos College, took a few years to study professionally. I interned for a construction company, and then did things with them, and then I started to sell products online through Etsy, through Amazon Homemade.
So cool.
And then also did custom work on the side, because the custom work really is a lot harder to find clientele in the beginning. So you have to really go by word of mouth. It's kind of like anything within the art industry. You have to develop a name for yourself. And then so from there, it spreads. And then after that, so that was pretty much my career for a few years until one day, through my connections, one of my woodworking instructors at Cerritos College got ill, and so they couldn't find any substitute woodworking teachers to
Wow.
cover for him because he was going to be out for 6 months to a year.
Oh, wow. So really sick.
Yeah,
Okay.
so they weren't even sure when he would come back.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of my mentors asked me if I was interested, and I considered teaching maybe later on in the future when I was a lot older or
Mm-hmm.
retired. But it was February, and then it was after Christmas. Business was slow for me, so
Yeah.
you know what, I'm just gonna give it a try. And so ever since then, I've loved it.
Oh, that's really awesome. So you're really self-made. You just kind of started out yourself, being on Etsy and
Hmm.
just kind of making materials at home. And that's really awesome. So
Hmm.
speaking of teaching, what is it like to be a woodworking teacher?
It's it can be it's very dynamic, definitely, because every student is different, every day is different. Even if you were to make the same projects every year, right,
Mm-hmm.
every student responds differently. So some students will really like this one project, and other students another year will really hate that project. So you kind of have to stay relevant and make things a little new and interesting all the time.
Ah, okay.
And so also another thing about teaching woodworking is the safety, right? So you really have to be nitpick safety and safety procedures and to go over it over and over and over again because this is the one class where
Yeah.
students can really hurt themselves. And
Mm-hmm.
so what I do for that is I make sure that they pass the safety test for each machine
Okay.
100% before they can even go and take a look at the machine. And then I go through the machine and how to use it with them as a group, and then one-on-one, they have to pass a performance test with me
Wow,
individually.
great.
And so from there, they're okay to use that machine.
Oh, that's
So
great.
it's a very long process, but then by the end of the year, they're all using every machine and everyone's running around on their own. So
It's worth it.
yeah, in the end, it's worth it.
Yeah. Oh, that's really great. I love how you not only work in the groups, but then also with each one individually, because that really shows them that you really care about their safety and also just about them and how they learn too.
Hmm.
So I really appreciate that in teachers, by the way,
Oh, thank you.
just that one-on-one help. So why is it important to network or connect with associations or groups for for your profession? I think
Well,
you
I
kind
mean,
of touched up on this.
yeah, I touched about it and how even I got this position
Yeah.
through networking, but also I've joined AWFS because, especially now being a teacher, we think about career placement for internships for students and things like that to help lead students into the field or into their passion or whatever it is they need to be successful rather than, just once they graduate, that's it. We have no more connection with them.
Yeah, definitely.
And
Okay.
so, yeah, that's been the best. Also, to stay relevant, with industry trends, because
Mm,
the industry is always changing. New things
yeah,
are popular. New methods, new machinery are being
definitely.
developed. And so, if we can learn those techniques, and the students then become more successful when they go out into the real world.
Yeah. Oh, that's so great because that's very applicable to every industry.
Mhm.
Everything is always changing, and there's always going to be someone that's really on top of their game. So you have to make sure that you're doing that too.
Yeah,
So, what did you find most interesting about this career or most surprising?
I think it's the students. I mean, I remember how I was when I was in high school, and I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't the best of students.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was worried that I would be teaching a room full of me, but really, luckily, the students are very wonderful. Even the most challenging ones are the most interesting because I, it drives me to get them, to try to catch them and get them to enjoy class. Because the ones who are self-motivated, who are just sit in the front and willing to learn, are the
Right,
easy ones. They're always going to do well in the future.
right.
Right? Because they're already good and they can discipline themselves. But the ones who need the most help are the ones I really want to catch and really kind of make a difference with. They're the hardest ones to catch, but they're the ones who need the most help.
Yeah. And that's really great because I could tell that obviously you really care about your students from what you've said in the past. So it seems like you're really helping out these students, and they're also kind of giving you some drive and some determination and some lessons along the way. You both help each other.
Oh,
Seems
definitely.
like. So that's
Definitely.
really great.
I mean,
So
they fulfill my life really, because it's
oh,
just so rewarding to develop these relationships with the students and see them all year grow from never touching a machine or a saw or not knowing anything to building these wonderful projects by the end of the year.
yeah, that's so great. Oh, that must be amazing. I'm not a teacher, but I could feel it right now just by you saying it.
Oh, it's awesome. There should be more teachers in the world.
Yeah, definitely. More teachers like you. Definitely, for sure. I really appreciate everything you're saying. I could just tell that you're a great teacher. Really, truly, honestly.
Thank you.
So, is there anything else that you would like to add or think would help someone considering this occupation?
Well, definitely as a CTE teacher,
Mm-hmm.
which is career technical education, it's a great time to get into the field, because as a lot of schools have switched over, whereas before 20 years ago, they were cutting all of trade programs because they were pushing more kids to go into college. And they've
Okay.
realized all the way up to the state level that, not everyone is cut out to go to college. And so
Mm-hmm.
there's a real void in the skilled trade job market now. They can't find enough skilled carpenters, they can't find enough skilled mechanics or skilled electricians to fill the job market. So
Okay.
it's as a teacher, right now the schools are almost begging for qualified teachers, but a lot of them, they don't know now that there are these positions open or available, you know,
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of people, because they just thought that these programs have been cut for so long that there won't be any employment for them.
Ah, okay.
And so right now, because the state's doing that whole changeover where they're rebuilding these CTE programs, and so to make sure that kids are college and career ready. So
Mm-hmm.
not just college, it's career and skill focused. And so it's a great time for people who are in the industry or thinking about going into it to join. Also, CTE classes are fun, right? Whereas the core classes are great, they're important,
Mm-hmm.
biology, math, and all those core classes.
Oh, yeah, so great.
they're great, but elective classes are the funnest classes, because
Yeah,
people choose these classes because they're interested in them already.
right,
And so that way, it's just, you have a room full of more interested kids and they're more engaged.
right.
And so, and, and you do a lot more relevant stuff about like job skills, resume writing and things like that.
Right.
So more real life things that they
Yeah.
can take out of it.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, that's so great. Well, we're now at the end of our interview. I know time just went by. It's really great when you're talking to someone and really getting the flow of things. But I want to thank you so much for everything you shared with us today.
No,
This
you're
is going to
welcome.
help a lot of people, and I'm sure that everyone's going to enjoy this interview. So thank you so much, Paul.
Thank you, Jasmine.
I hope you have a nice day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.